This was perhaps the most twisted punishment in comic history. A grown man was cursed by magic and transformed into a young woman. Forced to endure humiliation, he was made to learn a lesson in front of everyone by a subordinate with 2 younger brothers. The rest weren't willing to be outdone either. Even his own ex-girlfriend joined in, determined to prove whose cries would echo the loudest. At that very moment, Nine-Headed Serpent unleashed nothing more than his aura of dominance. Yet it instantly wiped out the entire crowd, sparing only 3, Liu Nian and his 2 companions. As the monster prepared to absorb their life force, he ordered his minions to capture them and take them back to his lair. Desperate to survive, Liu Nian pulled out a few talismans, striking down the shrimp and crab soldiers. At the same time, he turned to his cousin Benbow, urging him to put on an act, attack him just enough to make his escape believable. Fortunately, the cousin's acting wasn't half bad. While pretending to strike Liu Nian, he shouted to the other soldiers to forget him and capture the remaining 2. Meanwhile, Liu Nian's ex-girlfriend Bichi was nearly at her breaking point. That's when Jin Shao came up with a risky idea. He pulled out a long-range cannon he had bought just days earlier, aiming directly at the true body of the Nine-Headed Serpent. One shot blasted a gaping wound in the beast's abdomen. But before Jin Shao could brag about his triumph, Liu Nian realized something was terribly wrong. He grabbed his cousin and bolted. His instincts were right. The power gap was too immense. Not only had Jin Shao failed to kill the creature, he had completely enraged it. With a flick of thought, the serpent cast a spell that turned Jin Shao into a woman. On his command, the shrimp and crab soldiers swarmed, capturing him instantly. Their leader, Shark Brother, took advantage of the situation, striking without hesitation. The disturbing sounds that followed forced Liu Nian and his cousin to cover their eyes, unwilling to witness the horror. The serpent's attention soon shifted back to them. On the ground, Jin Shao and Bichi, terrified, betrayed their companions, revealing that Liu Nian and his cousin were staging a performance to fool him. Realizing Benbow had turned traitor, the Nine-Headed Serpent launched a deadly attack at the 2. By sheer luck, Liu Nian survived thanks to the protective power of the 9-Dragon Robe. Using his healing ability, he managed to recover 3 times in quick succession. With no other choice, he revealed his greatest secret, pulling out the Imperial Seal. His plan was to use it to teleport himself and his cousin to safety. But just as the seal activated, the serpent recognized him as none other than the reincarnation of Emperor Zhou Xin. With a secret sealing spell, he shattered the teleportation array in an instant. This time, it truly seemed like the end. Here it comes. The later part of this episode continues with explosive twists. A kind reminder, not suitable for children. Facing the terrifying power of the Nine-Headed Serpent, Liu Nian was finally recognized as the reincarnation of Emperor Zhou Xin. Determined to fight back, he tried burning his own blood essence in a desperate attempt to resist, but the difference in strength was far too great. His strikes felt like mere scratches, doing nothing but further enraging the monster. The serpent prepared to unleash his ultimate attack to end Liu Nian once and for all. Just then, a brilliant golden light suddenly tore across the sky. With unstoppable force, it struck directly at the beast. 2 golden dragons descended like thunderbolts, ripping apart the serpent's body and severing its limbs, killing him on the spot. At that same moment, Liu Nian, who had assisted in the kill, gained an enormous amount of experience, instantly leveling up 4 times. As the dust settled, a figure riding the legendary beast Chongqi appeared high in the sky. It was none other than Wenzhong, the Grand Preceptor of the Shang dynasty. Landing before Liu Nian, he immediately fell to his knees. "Your servant Wenzhong is late to your rescue. I beg your forgiveness, my king." He had never imagined he would see his ruler again in this lifetime. Soon after, 2 more beams of divine light fell from the heavens. They revealed themselves as Zhang Guifang, the general of Qinglong Pass, and Zhang Kui, one of the mightiest commanders of the Shang. Though both had once died bravely in battle defending the dynasty, their loyalty and valor earned them a place among the divine. Bound by celestial contracts, their souls had been forced into service in the heavenly realm. Now, their hopes rested on Liu Nian, that he might ascend one day, shatter their chains, and free them. Thus, the bloody battle with the Nine-Headed Serpent came to an end. To ensure no one leaked the secret of his true identity, Liu Nian instructed Wenzhong to open the 3rd heavenly eye. Using celestial magic, he erased the memories of everyone present. Only then did he accept the loyal kneeling of his 3 generals, watching as they returned to the heavens and vanished into the sky. After sending his cousin back to the novice village to continue training, the scene shifted deep beneath the waters of Bibo Lake at Luanstone Mountain. There, the nameplate belonging to the Nine-Headed Serpent suddenly shattered. His wife, Princess Wan Sheng, rose to her feet in fury. "Who dares kill my husband? Once I uncover the truth, I will tear them into pieces." Back in Bibo Tower, after settling matters, Liu Nian decided to return to the imperial tombs to complete his refining process. Using the imperial seal, he teleported back to Xuanyuan tomb. At that instant, his 3 consorts were absent, off preparing rare materials. Only consort Nu remained. Casting aside her distractions, she joined him, and together they hurried to complete the unfinished dual cultivation ritual. Once it was done, the system announced he had mastered the ability Fiery Eyes. Just then, Daji burst into the room and threw herself into Liu Nian's arms. But before they could enjoy the reunion, a girl named Xuening entered. She was the very key Daji had sought for completing the ear-refining ritual. It was said Xuening's true form was a spirit of the Eastern Sea. Her first drop of blood could grant the power to hear even the faintest sounds in the world. Because of its purity, it could only be collected using a special artifact. Lying down and prepared, she allowed the process to begin. With a piercing cry, the sacred drop was obtained and carefully placed into Liu Nian's ear by Daji herself. Thus, the wind listening ear ability was awakened. Seizing the moment, Consort Nu presented another rare treasure, a lemon fruit. As Liu Nian inhaled its fragrance, his sense refinement was completed, unlocking the human artifact Yellow Vessel. This triggered a new quest, Glory Continent. A large-scale dungeon was scheduled to open the next morning at Wanming Valley, offering as reward the crucial material needed to reforge the legendary Dragon Phoenix sword. Without hesitation, he accepted the task. What he didn't know was that a conspiracy was already unfolding. Having learned of the serpent's death, Prince Wansheng had arrived at Wanming Valley ahead of time, setting a deadly ambush. Not long ago, Princess Wansheng found Shen Gongbao in the inner palace and learned that her husband, the 9-headed beast, had actually been killed by Yinsheng's Grand Minister Wenzhong after being burned by Emperor Zhou Xin, who released the power of the Huang bloodline. Since the large dungeon in Wanming Valley was about to open, Emperor Zhou Xin would definitely go there, making it the perfect opportunity for revenge. After learning this, an angry Princess Wansheng left, and Shen Gongbao revealed an evil smile. He now clearly understood that before the demon sect leader appeared in reality, his own strength was insufficient to challenge Wenzhong in the Fengshen rankings. Therefore, using someone else to take revenge would be the best strategy at present. A few days later, in Wanming Valley, Princess Wansheng arrived early. To prevent unforeseen dangers, she disguised herself as an ordinary person to scout the situation. Just as she saw Liu Nian entering the valley and was about to approach him, a woman in white suddenly appeared, blocking her path. The newcomer was none other than the young, wealthy lady Fang Kie. To complete the dungeon run, she had brought 2 friends along. However, upon hearing that the ordinary player in front of them hadn't even changed classes yet and was actually Fang family's son-in-law, the discerning He Shu immediately rejected Liu Nian's request to join the team. Even Shu Meijiao boldly declared that trash is trash, level 24, and still not class changed. Don't let him into the team. At that moment, Princess Wansheng suddenly appeared, offering to join the team herself. She claimed that her level 26 control and trick skills would definitely be useful to them. The group agreed to let her join, but Princess Wansheng immediately went to Liu Nian's side. The princess quietly asked Liu Nian if he had ever been to Bibo Tower. Fang Jie stepped forward, trying to push the princess's hand away in anger. To avoid revealing her identity, Princess Wansheng had no choice but to apologize, though in her heart, she had already resolved that once inside the dungeon, she would annihilate everyone.